welcome to the deep dive. Think about your day so far. How many times, maybe without even noticing, has AI kind of woven itself into what you were doing? Maybe managing your calendar, suggesting email phrasing, filtering spam. It's just increasingly there, isn't it?
It really is more and more integrated. But, how often do we really stop and think about the bigger picture, the implications?
Exactly. And that's what we're doing today. We're taking a deep dive into insights from a Chicago AI Mastermind session. It was held June 27th, 2025.
And the title really sums it up. Emerging AI Trends. From agentic workflows to AI slop, how we stay ahead while keeping our humanity intact. It wasn't just a tech showcase.
No, definitely not. So our mission here is to pull out the most important nuggets from that conversation.
Yeah.
We want to unpack what's really emerging, how it's being used practically.
But the big questions it raises.
Right, the big questions. And crucially, what it all means for you, whether you're prepping for a meeting, just trying to keep up with this field that moves so fast, or if you're just, curious about the future.
Yeah, and the group that met, they brought everything to the table. Insight, sure, but also, caution, real curiosity. And the whole thing was kind of framed by this fantastic Buckminster Fuller quote they started with.
Oh, yeah. What was that again?
We're called to be the architects of the future, not its victims.
Wow. That really sets a tone, doesn't it? It's not just about watching what happens, but actively shaping it.
Exactly. Deciding what's worth building and doing it, with intention together.
Okay, so that's a great starting point. Let's dive into how they framed thinking about this fast-moving future. This session kicked off with Paul introducing Amy Webb's cone of uncertainty.
Right, the cone. It's a framework, basically, for thinking about AI trends based on time horizons, how far out you're looking.
So it takes this huge, kind of daunting idea of the future of AI and makes it more manageable.
Precisely. So, for instance, the first segment, like 1 to 2 years out, that's not about wild predictions. It's really focused on, immediate tactics, integration, stuff you can actually do now.
Okay, so practical steps for today, optimizing what you're already doing.
Yeah. And then as you kind of move further out along the cone, say 2 to 5 years, the focus shifts. It becomes more about strategy, about planning, positioning yourself or your organization.
Less reactive, more proactive planning.
Exactly. And then you get to the 5 years plus horizon. That's where you're really talking about long-range shaping, the big vision stuff, potential paradigm shifts.
It helps you sort the fads from the real transformations, I guess, so you don't chase every shiny new object.
That's the idea. And what really struck me was Abe's point about this. He said it's not just academic theory for him.
Right. He mentioned his global healthcare company actually uses this framework.
Yeah, it powers their futurism program. He called it an organizational tool for foresight. So very real world, very high stakes application.
That adds a lot of weight to it. And Paul's key takeaway from this.
He put it really well. The goal of strategic foresight isn't to predict. It's to prepare.
Prepare, not predict. I like that.
Yeah, it's not about having a crystal ball. It's about building the capacity to adapt, to be resilient, whatever comes down the pike.
That feels, much more empowering, actually, when you're facing something like AI. So for you listening, thinking about your own field, how do you start applying this? Is it focusing short-term first?
I think you kind of need to look at both ends of that cone. What can you do now, the 1-2 year stuff, for immediate gains? But also keep an eye on that 5+ year direction.
So your short-term moves are actually heading somewhere useful.
Exactly. It's sort of a dual-track approach, immediate action informed by long-term vision.
Okay, that makes sense. So from that kind of high-level strategic view, the conversation then shifted.
Right.
Got more into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, into real workflows, using what they called agentic AI.
Agentic AI. Let's unpack that a bit. We're not just talking about prompting ChatGPT for an answer here, are we?
No, not really. Think of it more like, AI systems designed to act more autonomously. They pursue a goal through multiple steps, maybe even collaborating with other AI agents.
So it's AI taking on more complex, sort of self-directed tasks.
That's the idea. It's moving beyond just being a single tool you use for one thing. And Paul's demo really brought this home.
The live toolbox demo, what did that involve?
He showed an agent network, so multiple AIs working together, designed to optimize a brand's SEO.
Okay, how?
Well, this system could, crawl competitor websites on its own, grab screenshots, analyze their content, find gaps,
Wow.
and then actually suggest improvements for your own brand's SEO, all happening kind of behind the scenes, powered by code and cloud infrastructure.
The potential scale there is huge. But, and this is a big but, Jennifer raised that really crucial question, didn't she?
She did, the grounding question.
Yeah.
If I'm not an expert, how do I know if the AI did a good job?
Yeah, because you can have this amazing system doing all this complex work, but if you can't validate the output,
Then what's the point? Exactly. And the consensus in the room was clear. Human oversight is still absolutely essential.
and not just oversight, but also prompt tuning, feedback loops.
Right. Continuous feedback. The systems might scale the work, sure, but like they said, only if we can assess their output with confidence and care. It's a different kind of challenge, validating output from a network of agents versus a single AI response.
It sounds like a new kind of human-AI partnership, needing different skills. And they talked about some real-world examples.
Oh yeah, Brian, Bill, Jennifer shared some great ones. Things like AI generating insights to prep you for a sales meeting or even a job interview.
Okay, useful.
Or creating specific agents to rewrite job descriptions to attract just the right kind of candidate.
Interesting. Tailoring the language automatically.
Yeah, or even AI briefings to help candidates understand the company culture before the interview.
That's clever. Using AI to improve the human experience, essentially.
Yeah. And Brian made another really good point that many teams might already have some of these agentic capabilities built into tools they use every day, like their CRM.
Yeah. Without even realizing it.
Yeah. He called it a credibility builder, just showing people what they already have and how to use it. Sometimes the value is hiding in plain sight.
That's a great reminder. Because he also warned about focusing too much on the tech, didn't he?
He did. He said, it's incredible how much time is spent on the tech, while the people and process side gets ignored. You need the fundamentals right.
The tech is only as good as the process around it. Makes sense.
And Eric had this great analogy for where agentic AI really shines right now. He said it excels at repetitive, low-risk tasks with high time costs.
Okay, the tedious stuff.
Exactly. He likened it to building a research intern, but one that doesn't sleep.
Huh. An intern that doesn't sleep. That's quite an image. But it gets the point across.
It does. It highlights that sweet spot for current agentic AI.
So for you listening, the takeaway here is maybe look closely at your own tools. See what AI might already be doing.
And then apply that critical human oversight. Make sure it's actually helping, that it's delivering real value, not just, doing stuff.
Right. Leverage it effectively with care. Okay, so we've talked about the potential, the frameworks, the practical uses, but there's always the other side of the coin, isn't there?
There is. And the mastermind session definitely didn't shy away from the challenges, the ethical side. Privacy came up a lot, and this idea of AI slop.
Yeah. Jennifer really highlighted that tension, didn't she?
Yeah.
As AI manages more of our lives, calendars, email, maybe even finances, we're centralizing a lot of highly personal data.
Mm-hmm. And she brought up Meredith Whittaker's work on surveillance capitalism, that risk.
That the convenience we get from AI comes at the cost of control over our own information, that our data becomes the product.
Exactly. It's a trade-off we need to be really conscious of, which leads straight into the need for auditability.
Right. Eric and Abe were strong on this. It's not enough for the AI to be accurate. We need to be able to understand how it got there. It needs to be auditable.
Yeah, the idea of Gen AI acting like a translator, explaining its reasoning. Eric's quote was spot on. If AI is going to act on our behalf, we need to know exactly what it's doing and how it got there. Transparency is key.
Otherwise, how can you trust it, really?
You can't. And Abe took it even further, looking ahead. He raised the possibility of machine-to-machine communication bypassing human language entirely.
Wait, like our devices talking to each other in ways we literally can't understand?
Potentially, yeah. Needing new translation layers just for us to follow what our own tools are doing, it's a bit mind-bending.
That is unsettling. And then Joe's warning ties right into this uncertainty.
The warning that we're rushing into a future where it's harder and harder to tell what's real.
Yeah, that's heavy. And Andrew connected that to John Oliver's segment on AI slop.
Right, that flood of cheap, low-quality synthetic content like email spam back in the day, but potentially much, much worse.
Because it can mimic human creativity, or at least attempt to, on a massive scale.
Yeah. And the danger is this polluted information ecosystem, as they called it, where there's so much noise, so much synthetic stuff, that you start doubting even the authentic voices.
You lose trust in everything.
Exactly. Now, the group thought AI filters for AI content are probably inevitable.
But there's always a but.
But the business models of many platforms, focused on engagement, clicks, ad revenue, They often don't incentivize filtering out low-quality stuff.
even if they could technically do it.
Right. So it's not just a tech problem. Bill nailed it. If everything sounds smart, how do you know it's true? It's fundamentally a trust problem.
How do you know it's true? That's the million-dollar question in this emerging landscape.
It really is. And for you listening, it means you have to be asking those hard questions. Where's the data coming from? How is it used? And developing your own strategies, your own critical thinking skills to navigate this synthetic world. It demands a new level of digital literacy.
Absolutely. Okay, so as we kind of start to pull these threads together, let's quickly recap those guiding frameworks that came out of the session. They seem like useful mental models.
Yeah, definitely. So we had the time cone framework, Amy Webb's cone for strategic timelines, which we talked about at the start.
Right. Prepare, not predict.
Then there was the AI Strategy Mosaic.
Yeah.
This highlighted those key themes to think about: governance, adoption, and measures.
Governance, adoption, measures.
Okay, and then the 3 pillars of AI value creation. Where does AI actually add value? They identified productivity through automation, saving time, process, orchestrating workflows, and customer, things like that SEO example or hiring personalization.
Productivity, process, customer. That helps categorize the potential benefit.
And these frameworks really connect back to the big unanswered questions, the things they were still asking.
Like under governance.
How do we really build trust, ensure auditability,
Yeah.
manage the risks, especially around data privacy? That came up again and again.
And adoption.
The key there was starting small, scaling smart. Andrew's example was powerful, vetting 25 ideas down to just 3 priority use cases. It's about focus, not just doing AI for AI's sake. Restraint, almost.
Doing the right things, not all the things.
Exactly. And finally, measures. Back to Jennifer's question.
Yeah.
How do we know it did a good job?
And the answer was.
Only if it leads to real action or genuine insight. Measurable impact, not just, wow, look what the AI did.
So tangible results are the benchmark. Makes sense. So for you listening, these frameworks, the time cone, the mosaic, the pillars, they're tools, right? Tools to structure your thinking.
Yeah, whether you're evaluating a new AI tool, talking about it with your team, or just trying to get your own head around it all, they provide a structure, a common language. Helps move from just reacting to actually engaging proactively.
Which feels essential right now. Reflecting on all this, it's a lot. It's easy to feel, as they said, both excited and unsettled.
Oh, absolutely. That feels like a very rational response to how fast everything is changing. The potential is huge, but so are the questions.
But the encouraging part, I think, from the session was that sense of collective effort. Jennifer's comment really resonated. Everyone here is helping move this conversation forward, whether you're building agents or just exploring ideas.
Yeah, that feeling of building with our eyes open and with each other, this deep dive, it's part of that ongoing conversation. We're all figuring this out together.
So as a final thought, something for you to maybe chew on. Pick one area where AI makes you feel uncertain right now. Could be content quality, data use, trust, anything.
Okay, and then?
Then ask yourself, how would I explain this clearly to someone who isn't technical? A stakeholder, a colleague, a friend. How would you distill that complex uncertainty down to its core?
That's a great exercise. Forces clarity.
Exactly. And clarity is what we desperately need. So stay curious, everyone. Stay critical. Keep engaging. We're all learning as we go, building to learn, and hopefully building to lead.